This is lesson number 2 for poetry. This lesson will focus on being able to identify and understand and analyze the form of haiku. Of all the SOL 8.5 forms of poetry you need to know, the limerick, the quatrain, the ballad, the free verse and couplets, and the haiku, this lesson will focus on the haiku. A haiku is an extremely specific form of poetry. It only has 3 lines. It creates an image and 17 total syllables. So the first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7, the third line has 5. If you get confused about syllables, the thing about syllables are they're separated by vowels. So in just the word syllable, you have the Y, which makes a vowel, the A, and the E, 3 vowels, and the word syllables has 3 syllables. So look for sets of vowels to help you with syllables. Haiku were originally Japanese in origin, meaning not anymore, but hundreds of years ago, the people who invented haiku were Japanese. And it's kind of one of those weird words that's like 1 haiku or 12 haiku, kind of like fish or deer. You don't need to put an S on the end of it. They were originally usually about nature. If you think about it, there wasn't a whole lot else going on like 500 years ago. So today they could be about anything, but originally they were about nature. What they do need to do is create an image of one moment in time. It's not really telling a story. It's not like a love song. It's not rhyming. It's just one moment, one snapshot trying to be captured with 17 syllables. And think about the fact that this was before photos or Instagram or any of that. Instead of a winning shot at a basketball game, you only got 17 syllables to describe one moment. They do not need to rhyme, and they don't have any wasted words. It's harder than it looks to create a really touching haiku because every little sound counts. This is an example from Basho Matsuo in the 1600s. By autumn moonlight, a worm digs silently into the chestnut. By autumn moonlight, a worm digs silently into the chestnut. Just one little moment of one little worm doing one little thing that someone saw and thought they would capture. If you count the syllables, it's going to be a little bit off, but I'll explain why. By autumn moonlight is 5 syllables, so that fits. A worm digs silently is only 6 syllables. Into the chestnut is 5. So instead of 575, this is 565, but that's okay because this was translated from another language, so the syllables are a little bit off if something is translated. If you were to write one or to read one by an English-speaking author, then it would need to fit the exact format. So for this little practice, actually count out the syllables in each line. Show them if you need to. You could draw like slash marks on your paper. Please remember they won't always match perfectly due to translation. Here's your first example. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. And the second example, lightning flash. What I thought were faces are plumes of pampas grass. So count out the syllables on each line. Your final haiku reflection questions. One is to just examine this poem from Richard Wright, who's an English-speaking author. Just examine this poem. White caps on the bay, a broken signboard banging in the April wind. I need you to explain 3 reasons why this poem should be considered a haiku and not just a free verse poem. And then your final task is to watch the YouTube link for Soka's haiku battle, which is on Google Classroom, and count how many spoken haiku are used in the video. You might have to watch it twice, be careful, but count up how many spoken haiku are used in the video. And then ultimately, just to make sure you understand it, why is the guy kicked out in the video? When you've finished all this, bring your notes and your assignment to your teacher and see if you can move on from haiku.